Usually I do my videos on Tuesday, but since I'm doing my daily vlogs and today's Monday and it's rainy and I'm like, what the heck? I'm just going to do my video today and I already have my thought and everything, so might as well get to it. Today's weekly video, we're going to talk about Formation, BeYonce's video that just dropped, Saturday? And trendy Black Lives Matter. Because Black Lives Matter has been sitting on my mind and I never really talked about it, but this would be a great time to talk about my views on Black Lives Matter. Why I feel like Beyonce's Formation video isn't legit and why her coming out and quote unquote being politically unapologetically black is trendy. Well, right now, you know Black Lives Matter. That came out of the shooting of Mike Brown in St. Louis. From that and a couple other events came Black Lives Matter. Why I feel like Beyonce's whole Formation video and all that and all the jazz about that is just not legit is because she's an entertainer and she does trendy things. The year before that, she was Sex Kitten. The year before that, she was Girl Empowerment. The year before that, she was Married Woman Swag. You know, if you like it, then you should have put a ring on it. Now, don't get me wrong. I don't dislike Beyonce. I like a couple of her songs. I like her attitude. I like her confidence. I like her whole aura. But I'm not going to lie to you and be like, oh, this was so empowering. This is the definition of blackness. Yes. Okay, she said she liked her husband's nostrils big like Jackson 5. Okay. She likes her daughter's hair nappy. Okay. I'm not going to say that she's lying or it's just for attention. She could really like her husband's nose. I mean, she married him. And of course she's going to like her baby. That's her baby. But I do think it's just trendy right now. Black Lives Matter is trendy right now. It's a hashtag. You know, people are black conscious now, as if it's a new thing. As if now black people just recognize their blackness as if they never knew that they were black before. This is trendy. Blackness and the subject of blackness and accepting your blackness, it has been trending forever. To be honest, since the existence of America. And I will get into that later in the video. But no, I don't think she is now the new Nation of Islam or the new resurrection of the Black Panther Party. No, she's just Beyonce doing trendy things because right now it's trendy and right now there's money in it. I mean, even perm companies are now starting to put natural products out there. You see with the Cantus and you see with the Cantus and you see with the purple perm kit, beauty something. Perm kit, beauty something. You see with that, you see with the green perm kit, olive something. Something they're making quote unquote natural products. Being natural, being black, being nappy is trendy and there's money in it, so people are jumping on the bandwagon. You think perm companies give a damn that your hair is nappy now and that you embrace your nappiness? No, but they know where the money's at, so they're going to follow the trend. And to be honest, Black Lives Matter, what are they doing besides protesting, memes, Twitter beefs? They even within their own organization, there's Twitter beefs. I think it was. I'm like, how is this supposed to be a progressive black grassroots movement, but y'all don't know how to act on Twitter? Twitter is for the public. At least if you have a disagreement, you can call each other up. You can meet at a certain place. Hell, you can even FaceTime it. Why would you put it on the internet to just get attention, just to start something? You're in an organization, you're trying to be progressive, you're trying to be about black upliftment, but y'all just showing your complete asses on Twitter. And like I said, besides hashtags, besides protesting, besides memes, what is Black Lives Matter doing? And that's like a legit question. Because when it came to the Nation of Islam, you knew what they were doing. They had the Final Call newspaper. They were feeding the homeless. They were educating people. They were pushing out the drug pushers. They were uplifting their communities back then. I'm not necessarily talking about Nation Islam now. I'm not saying they're not doing it, but specifically when Malcolm was alive, that's what they were doing, and people knew them for it. When the Black Panthers were coming, they were the ones giving people free health care.
Aww.
They were feeding the community. That whole free lunch thing comes from the Black Panther Party.
Aww.
They were educating people. They weren't just making a whole lot of noise just to make noise. They were actually doing a progressive movement. They said power to the people. They got the government attention because they were doing something. They wasn't running their mouths. They didn't just want the attention. They were doing something with it. They were doing something quote unquote radical. So it wasn't just froze, all black gear. They were actually doing something great, something unprecedented. But with Black Lives Matter, what are they doing with it? Because Black homosexuals will be like, well, we started Black Lives Matter, we started the hashtag. And I'm like, so what do you want for that? Kudos? Do you want like an honorary position? Do you want head top position in the organization? Like, what do you want for that? Like, I swear Black homosexuals be on some other issue where it's like, I can separate my blackness and my gayness. I'm like, Langston Hughes was gay. James Baldwin was gay. But guess what? They knew that their blackness was what was being attacked, and their blackness is what they should go for, not being gay. I mean, even within the organization Black Lives Matter, there's just so much separatism, and it's not even like on a global position in the sense of when you think of Black progression, you think of Black Lives Matter. It's still just an internet thing. It's still just a movement that came out of a murder. Rest in peace to Mike Brown, and I give much condolences to the family, but Black Lives Matter hasn't taken hold of the national conversation like the NOI did, or the Black Panther Party did, or Malcolm did, or Marcus Garvey did. It's not on the same level. And to be honest, I don't think it could rise to that level if there's no code of conduct. Code of conduct number one should have been like, don't have Twitter beefs. I mean, I'm just thinking, I'm just like, are we really that just gullible? Are we just that symbolic where we see something, we're like, yeah, that means something? This is the same thing where Black people will be like, oh, Abraham Lincoln freed the slaves, even though he said, and I'll add it to this video, if he could keep the unions together and keep the institution of slavery, he would. But Black people keep on saying he freed the slave as if he gave a damn about Black people. Black people will be like, well, at least we got affirmative action. And I'm like, affirmative action, the majority of the benefits goes to white women. Like, these people were not getting beat by clubs. These people were not getting dogs sent on them. These people were not dying in the streets. These people weren't forced into prison. These people weren't being sprayed by hoses. As soon as the Civil Rights Bill came out, everybody wanted to come out the woodwork and be like, can I get some? Well, technically, I'm a minority. Well, I need something. Well, these are my benefits too. Well, we're all in one. When it came to the struggle, when it came to the fight, everybody saw us struggle and said, not my business. Soon as we get a little bit of push, all of a sudden everybody want to come out the woodwork and be like, where's mine? It's the same thing. And I'm just like, it's just symbolic to me. Her video was nice, but it was symbolic. I mean, she didn't really have a story, but whatever. It's symbolic. Because then after the video, she announced that she was going on tour to make money. And I'm not saying Black people shouldn't make money. You should be making money. That whole, let's be dignified and being poor, let's leave that in the 20th century. We're in the 21st century. Get your money. I'm not mad at that. I'm not mad that people are making money from Blackness. I'm not mad that people are making money from natural hair care businesses or African print. I'm not mad. You should. But call it what it is. Because I'm pretty sure in the next year, 2 years, 3 years, BeYonce will not be doing anything to follow up Formation. It is what it is. And to be honest, I'm surprised this black trend lasted this long. And I do think it's a trend. Because 2009, that's when a couple of people started going natural. 2012, that's when people paid attention to it. People really started talking about it. People were really interested in going natural. And then current times right now, like It's not unusual to see a black woman or a black man with rocking their natural hair, which I don't hate. Again, I think you should embrace your blackness. But is it something that is sticking, or is it just a trend? And I believe it's just a trend. It's just trendy right now. Even within the natural hair community, just to take a little bit left, there's only a certain kind of hair type that is promoted. There's only a certain type of hair type people like. There's only a certain hair type that gets advertisement. No one's really checking for the 4C hair like that compared to the loose, curly, wavy, jerry curl-ish hair. Like, let's be legit about that. People are like, well, Black Lives Matter is getting attention, the feds are intervening. I'm like, to be honest, I wouldn't be surprised if the feds were propping people up, A, and B. Like I said, the organization is not that powerful because the organization has too many politics, has too many hands, has too many people talking. There's no organization within the organization. How ironic. And there is no code. There's no code of conduct. People are just saying whatever they want to say. Supposedly people are taking money and squandering it. And I'm just like, if y'all can't get it together within the organization, how are you really going to defeat the system of white supremacy? How are you going to make an impact that is long lasting? Something on the Nation of Islam level, something on the Garvey movement level, something on the Black Panther level. Those groups were so powerful, and those groups had so much attention, so much energy, so much love and hate at the same time. The feds infiltrated. They had black people to infiltrate. Some of these organizations, I think with the Black Panther Party, you could not necessarily be black and be part of it. They had infiltrators. People came in just to start dysfunction. But with the Black Lives Matter movement, from what I see, it's starting off with dysfunction. So you don't need the feds to infiltrate. You don't need the feds to take them off course because they're not on course to begin with. Like I said, be on a hashtag, be on memes and protests. What is Black Lives Matter doing? Compared to the Nation of Islam, compared to what the Garvey movement did, compared to what the Black Panther Party did, what are they doing? Like I said, being black right now is just trendy. In about 10 years, I want to see if black people are still going to be like, yeah, I'm black, with my fro, with my dashiki. Or is it just going to be like, nah, back to regular scheduled white supremacy. I still have black inferiority issues, so no thank you. Like I said, this isn't the first wave of black identity. Just right now, it's trendy. It's trendy to wear all black or African print and have afros and to have African medallions or rocking a Nefertiti or Cleopatra. It's trendy now. Don't believe the hype. Like it is to be bi. Like it is to have a gazillion tattoos. Like it is to have a gazillion piercings. It's just trendy. And like it is to take drugs. These things are trendy. One drug that will just take your life is crocodile. I will insert a picture of what that does to your body. Ew! To your body. It's just trendy. I'll break down the waves of blackness so you understand specifically what I'm talking about. To me, the first wave of blackness in America after European contact was slave fighting / running away from slavery because they understood that freedom and dignity is all they had. And they were going to lose their humanity for a person who obviously doesn't have humanity and make them wealthy. They were not willing to sacrifice themselves for white wealth. This includes mothers who would kill their children, mothers who would kill their babies, mothers who committed infanticide. That was the first wave of black empowerment, black identity, black acceptance. Next was slave uprising like the Haitian Revolution, people like Gaspar Yenga, Queen Nzinga, Nat Turner, Denmark Vesey, and so on. These are the black people who said, we're not going to take it, we're not going to be your boy, or we're not going to let you oppress us and take us, we're going to fight back against the system of white supremacy. These are people who lost their lives or died fighting in the fight. Next was the Civil War. Black people who fought for their freedom, but even with fighting for their freedom, there really wasn't a plan other than you get freedom if you're from the North fighting the South, who still wanted to keep slavery. The South wanted to be separate. The North didn't want the separatism because the South had majority of the money from the slavery system. The North guaranteed freedom to the slaves that they fought for on their behalf, and the South were willing to pay slaves to fight so they can still be enslaved, but get a little paper on the side. Well, the North was like, well, we'll give you freedom if you fight for me. So war had nothing to do. But oh my God, we care about Black people here. It just took us 400 years to grow empathy. It took us 400 years not to be psychopaths and mass murderers and mass rapists. Now we have sympathy. Now we have a heart and consciousness. No, it's all about money. And plus, like I said, there were uprisings. There was the Nat Turners, the Denmark VCs, the Haitian Revolution. There were so many uprising insurrections where it was like, man, this is really risky. I'm not trying to lose my life. So they were like, money, my life, money, my life. I'm gonna just go with my life. Don't let these white people in this history book fool you. It had nothing to do with, no, we have a conscience. It had everything to do with, we want the money. Trust and believe. Next was Reconstruction, where Blacks knew it was time to build for self and to be self-sufficient, not to rely or be a part of the white paradigm that often murdered, raped, and pillaged these Black communities. And this is the time where, after slavery, where Black people were just kind of at a standstill. What do I do? Where I go from here? A couple of Black people really liked the plantation system where they didn't want to leave. Other Black people were just happy to leave. And they started making their own little businesses, having their own little homes. Of course, it wasn't as grand spanking new as the white folks who had generational wealth from slavery, who were living like rock stars back then, where slaves had a little cot or a little shack, but they had their own, and they were trying to figure out a Black identity after a horrific experience like slavery. And then a little bit after that was the Renaissance period, where Black people were recognizing their Blackness. Black people were getting into music and art. Not saying Black people were never into music, were never into art, but now it was very expressive. Now it was accepting that, being free with that, sharing that, immersing yourself with that. And that was the Renaissance period. And that was the time where things were lively. People were making money. People were getting into writing with books and language and poetry. This is the whole jazz era, the Langston Hugheses of the world and whatnot. Then was Jim Crow and Jane Crow, where Blacks understood to keep up with the times and to keep on with the Black businesses, Black prosperity, but still keep to themselves as Black people, associate with Black people, because a lot of themselves found themselves dead if they did cross that barrier, if they did go to the wrong side of town, especially if they were at the wrong place at the wrong time. Look into sundown towns where if you were caught at a certain time, at a certain neighborhood, that would cost you your life. But even with that, there were certain Black people who were determined to get white people to like them, white people to accept them. That inferiority complex where it doesn't matter if Black people accept you, it doesn't matter how much money you make, it doesn't matter how well known you are. If white people aren't patting you on the back, then it must not be that good. Mr. Charlie's ice is always colder than the Black man's ice. Next was the so-called radical 70s, where you have Black empowerment. You had the Huey Newtons, the Bobby Seals, the Elaine Browns, Black people who accepted their Blackness. This is where the Black Party movement came out of. This is where Black people started rocking their fros and speaking about Black empowerment, speaking about businesses, speaking about injustices, speaking about their rights, getting their own equal footing in the world. Because back in Jim Crow, it was like separate but equal, but every time it was separate, on the Black side, it was janky. On the white side, it was great. And even to take it back, during Reconstruction, that was where the time of Marcus Garvey, where he flourished, where his teachings and him being a speaker, coming out of Jamaica, having a big audience, reaching millions, reaching people outside of the country, reaching people in Africa, reaching people in the Caribbean. He was a very powerful man. And because he spoke so much truth, and because he was so strong in what he was saying, a well-spoken man, a well-educated man, he was able to get people's attention. But like I said, with the Black inferiority complex, that whole movement went down. Yes, the feds intervened, but there were Black people who intervened too. Next was the 90s. a 90s baby. This was when art and again with music and Black consciousness came in, and you had groups like Arrested Development, Diggable Planets. And then we have another wave of blackness. To me, it's like a bad movie on repeat where nothing really changes. The characters are still the same. The plot is still the same. There's no defeating of white supremacy. There's no Black businesses. There's no Black excellence on a massive scale. There's no Black self-sufficiency. There's no Black takeover. There's no Black independence. It's just symbolic. Everything is symbolic. And we take these symbolic things and these symbolic attitudes as a change. This wouldn't pass in the Jewish community. This wouldn't pass in the Asian community. It wouldn't pass in the Muslim community. It wouldn't pass in the Latino community. But for us, it's symbolic. Like having the first Black president who ignores us and doesn't do anything for us. But gays, get marriage, Latinos, Dream Act, Blacks, just a Black president. Symbolicism. We just admire symbolic things. No real change, but doesn't it just look nice? And that's why we just never progress, because we just fall in love with symbolism. I feel like I relived this. I relived all these eras that I mentioned before because, like I said, there's no real progression. There's no real change. There's no real Black development where you could say, from this point, we were at the bottom. But now, oh my God, it's just Blackness everywhere. It's Black acceptance everywhere. It's Black superiority everywhere. There's Black excellence everywhere. There's Black capitalism. There's Black businesses. There's Black education. There's Black knowledge. There's Black everything. It's just, as soon as we get somewhere, all of a sudden it crashes, but at least you have the symbolism. We gotta do better as a people. We have to do better. And like I said, it's just a fad. Blackness right now is just a fad. It's just symbolic. Like how when white people go out and let's say they have an African friend or they join an African club or they go to Africa and they get a dashiki and they do the face paints, they get some braids, you know, they start speaking in like African dialect or let's say Ebonics, or they learn like 5 words in Swahili and all of a sudden they're just down. Black people are the same thing. Blackness is trendy to Black people. Black progression and Black acceptance of Black people is a fake. So let that soak in. Let that seep in. Let that resonate with you. You as a Black person and most Black people, Blackness is a fad that goes in and out of style. So yeah, that is my video. And again, I don't hate Beyonce. I think she's a great performer. I like her attitude. I like her confidence. I like her swag. But no, I don't think she genuinely cares about Black progression. I think it's just trendy right now. I think it's just a fad, and she's capitalizing on the fad. Just like perm companies are capitalizing on Black women going natural. Just like when it comes to, like, let's say stores like Forever 21 and whatnot, they're capitalizing on Black African prints. It's just trendy. Black acceptance coming in out of style is just trendy. Just like when you go to costume stores and they have dread wigs or they have afro wigs, it's trendy. Blackness is trendy. Just like when it's Halloween, you dress up like Pocahontas and you think you're Native American, trendy. It's just trendy. So that's the end of my video. I could go on and on and on, but I'm just not going to do it because I got other things to do. So if you like this video, please comment below. Tell me what you think. Comment, rate, subscribe. Are you for the formation video? Did you not think that deep into it? Did you like it? Do you think she's the next Black Panther person, the next Elaine Brown? Let me know below. Be blessed. And I'm out.